creation was, and I think that's a lot of now, is like the creation is almost ancillary to the hustle of like selling art, you know.
The entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I do think that has the responsibility has really landed on the artist to do that.
To have the business skills and
Well, and that's the thing too. It's like the thing I talk about a lot, especially the last couple of months, is like, you know, none of these art schools are training people how to work. They're not teaching them how to be a business, which again, like as much as the salesmanship aspect is gross, you still need to know how to file your taxes and do paperwork and like make an invoice. Like, how do you bill someone for a painting they bought? You know what I mean? Like, there's stuff like that like I have been talking to a lot of kids, you know, going to, you know, Art Institute and other schools and stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, no, we don't do any of that. It's just, you know, and I'm like, pure creation.
And they
great.
never did.
But
that never happened.
Yeah, and I mean, the college I went to was a very small comic book school in New Jersey, and there was a quote-unquote business class, which was way more than any other art school was offering, but it still wasn't good, you know, like, and that's not, they just don't know, you know, and I was talking to a friend of mine, his daughter is getting really into like Procreate and doing a lot of stuff there, and she's getting good. He's like, yeah, and we'll see if she wants to go to art school, because he's like, the one thing I'm going to force her to do no matter what is take a business class. Like, take a business class, learn how to, it's the old days you call it balancing your checkbook, but learn how to manage your funds, and learn how to, I mean, there's a reason why I filed bankruptcy at 29, is because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, you know? So, not that I do now, but, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
But I do think going to art school, I mean, I always would tell students, do not go if you're going to go in debt.
Yeah.
And now there are so many schools that you can, I mean, a lot of graduate schools, when they accept you, they give you a full ride.
Yeah.
And that's something I think is becoming a little more common.
Yeah.
And I really think artists, if there's one hole that I see with artists, is that they are not going to graduate school, and it shows.
Hello, come on in.
Hi. We're having a completely different conversation. We're having a completely different conversation.
We're keeping it casual.
Hi.
Yeah, find a seat.
How are you?
Come on in, Nick, show the home. Well, and it's because, like, you know, being in Atlanta, being in Georgia with SCAD down there, you know.
Oh, right.
Like, and it's, these kids their parents are paying, you know, the amount that normally you'd expect to be a lawyer or a doctor.
Of course.
And especially with the collapse of these industries and the shrinking, like, you know, it's like these kids are not going to get work. You very rarely get work right out of school anyways.
Right.
And B, you are so saddled with so much debt that, you know, it's like, even if your parents are helping or if you've got loans and stuff like that, you still have this crazy amount of debt that you're like, I have friends who graduated from SCAD early 2000s and they're still paying it off 20 some years later, you know, like, and it wasn't even expensive back then as it is now.
And SCAD had a very rough start.
Yeah. I enjoy the campus. I like going there. I just always tell people, like, really question if you need to go to that school, you know. But there's other schools that have the same problem. It's just that's the easy example, you know. But I know that's, like, I went to the school that I wanted to. I wanted to draw comics. I didn't want to take any BS classes. I didn't want to do math. I didn't want to do, you know, science. I didn't want to do art history, whatever. I just want to draw. I want to learn how to get better and hone my craft. So I went to the school, like, it ended up being weird because I was looking at Art Institute here, and it was like, at the time, you know, 15 or 17 grand a year, and that would have been living here and going there. And this art school in New Jersey that I went to was like 13 grand a year, and that meant I could move there and still live and have money and still be cheaper than if I stayed here. So, not the case anymore, but at the time, yeah.
Well, Janet and I went to the same school. Yeah. And it was cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, even for...
Oh yeah, it was like $300 a semester.
Yeah, it was just so cheap. And you could have a part-time job, pay for your bills, and really just, and it was in Lawrence, so it was fun.
Yeah. That is one thing that, like, because the school I went to, it's like, it's all dudes into comics. So it's like, there's a few like women there and stuff like that. At the time, there's a lot more women in comics now, but so it's just like there's like 70 people in my class, and it's like we all just are nerds and we just drew all the time and stuff like that. So I didn't get a real college experience. And it's like sometimes I get a little like, I probably should have gone to like a regular school for a little bit. That way I would have had more of a, but yeah,
Well, I loved it. I mean, I'm not saying that KU was the greatest experience.
But for you had a good time.
I became a human being.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned how to live with people and stop eating meat and, just things that were just very, that are very important to my life now. I thought that was really, I mean, not to diss the instructors that we had. I mean, they were.
Well, I think we had pretty exceptional
Yeah.
instructors.
Yeah.
KU was awesome.
It was. I think I just got under the spell of the Svengali, and it took me a while to get out of that. And that was
I went
hard.
for the entire liberal arts experience. I mean, I was a fine arts major, but I was determined
Yeah.
to do what you're saying you didn't want to do. I wanted Western civilization.
Yes, I took all that too.
I took physics,
Yeah.
I took it all.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing.
Intramural sports,
Wow. What did you play?
volleyball.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's something. Yeah, I took an art history class every semester, and I took an English class every semester. I made sure that I had a balance of things.
Yeah, which is good.
Plus, I think it's interesting, our instructors were all like 10 years older than us. So it was a very
That's fairly young.
collegial
I was gonna say, that's a young.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very, there were older ones too, but there was a core of guys just 10 years
Yeah.
older.
Interesting.
Yeah. I got asked out on a date like my first week there.
Did you go?
No. No. I was smart enough not to fall into that trap.
Yeah, it was,
Was it with a professor?
It was with a professor.
Oh, okay.
The person I wanted to study with.
yeah.
Oh, that's
The
like
women who fell for that trap often did not,
Do well.
yeah.
Yes.
So that was the downside of all that.
Right.
Oh, my God,
Yeah.
Oof.
that's terrible. Well, we can kind of more formally start
Yeah.
tonight.
Okay.
So it's just gonna be a conversation, and if you wanna include questions like midway through,
Yeah.
if we wanna do that versus
Sure.
at the end.
So something that I generally do when I do talks is I just kind of say like stop us if you have like raise your hand if you have a question or like whatever. Like I just feel just keep it, and it, like it's a conversation, so it's a conversation.
Yeah, okay, great.
So for the sake of the video,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start off and be like, I am Kevin Mellon. I am an artist who is based down here. I grew up here, lived in Atlanta for a while making TV, and now I'm back making comics and shooting short films and music videos and stuff like that. Babs was kind enough to ask me to help out shooting these talks, and with this one, since we don't want to do like a normal artist speak, we're gonna just talk and have a conversation and see where we go. The thing is though, is like I kind of learned a little bit about you over the last like half hour or so, but we're kind of talking, you're talking about your college stuff. I am curious, like, what's the inciting incident for you as a kid? Where are you just messy finger painting? Like, are you just like you want to do this?
It was music all the way.
Nice.
I mean,
Same.
it was piano, it was violin, it was viola, it was percussion. And it wasn't until I was in 4th grade. Oh, and of course there was Little League in there too. So, I mean, it was like,
So you're like 6 playing piano kind of thing? Like,
yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, I was never good.
Doesn't
But, I mean, I knew that something was sort of happening when I played Liebestrom in 2nd grade. I mean, it was not good.
Sure, but still.
But that was where my teacher thought we should go, and that was fine. But it was never anything that I was terribly interested in, and I thought if this can just kind of keep me and my little world and away from my parents, then I will do that.
This is what to say. Were they like? I mean, if you're playing all these things, is that through school or is that were they like getting you? Like, did they want you to?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
They knew that they were smart enough to know that I had an artistic bend, but if I was going to do any of that, it was going to be music.
Okay. Interesting.
And it wasn't until I was in 4th grade, and I went to a really cool experimental school when I was from 4th to 6th grade. And
Experimental how?
Spanish
Okay.
in 4th grade.
Yeah.
We did Shakespeare in 6th grade. I mean, it
That's
was
incredible.
just it was a great school.
Yeah.
But it was when
Is this in Missouri? I don't know.
No,
where-
it was in Kansas. It was
Okay.
in Lawrence.
Okay.
My parents, like I said, I've lived in 30
Yeah.
different houses in my life, and that's a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot of change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was really that experience that I got to do an art camp, and it was just like, wow, the bowl really went on.
Yeah.
And I knew that that's what I wanted to do.
That's interesting because like I have like the reverse is like I wanted to play music and my parents were like no, they saw the drawing happen at the same time. They were like no, there's no career in that or whatever. And it's like yeah, there's not, but but it's one of those things where, like no, I just was dead set on like playing guitar and all that. So but it's interesting though because like those things with you it seems like as well. It's like kind of this parallel like discovery of what you like as far as
Right.
creativity.
Yeah, I think we kind of know. I mean, I think if you're open, I think kids know a lot of things about their gender and about their and their sexuality. I mean, I think those things are just kind of given.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that like it's like we don't as kids we don't have the saddle of the burden of time because we haven't lived long enough to let it weigh us down.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But I do think it's great to have those kinds of experience.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I never wanted to have children, but I often thought, well, what kind of parent would I be?
Yeah.
And I thought, and I guess in some ways I feel good that they were, and I think it was to get me out of the house, keep me busy,
Yeah.
and that's fine. I was cool with that.
Yeah. Were you did I hear you right earlier? You liked the acting?
I did. I that was sort of a thing that happened.
Was this high school, grade school?
It really was kind of all along,
Okay.
but it was when I was a senior. I went to Shawnee Mission West, and it was my senior year, and I just had to take government, which was 1 semester, and the rest was all me. So for 2 semesters, I took all the theater classes and all the art classes that I was taking all along, and I was taking theater too. But,
Shockingly similar. My senior year, because I did everything before, was I went in. I had 1 class I had to take first semester, and then the rest was just open study. And so my teachers were just like turn in a painting every 2 weeks. So I just painted for like.
That's great. They call that A level in Britain.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
those are your A levels. So.
Gotcha.
But
How many did you? So it's like plays and stuff like that. Did you ever?
I directed. I acted. I was in two of the major plays that senior year.
What was your favorite one?
We did Spoon River.
I don't know that one.
It is. It's an anthology, and it's kind of a spoken word. Pretty. I don't know if it's done very often now, but it was really great. It was about dead people.
How did you like the experience of directing? Because that's just kind of like being the introvert.
That's just something. I'm pushy. I'm very. That's kind of a natural fit.
But directing, you have to know what you want. You have to have.
I
You still
do
at
know
least
that.
be able to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I directed it was a British play, and I was able to, because the first act is just a monologue. It's called Day in the Death of Joe Egg. And that experience let me take this play and split it in half and just do the second act. And of course, it it was just, it was great. I loved it. I really loved the experience, and I loved doing it. And but anyway, and after that, I auditioned for the Missouri Rep, and but it's not called the Missouri Rep anymore. It's called is it called Kansas City Rep? I think now.
Okay. Just a little drilling down on the.
Yeah, and but it was great. I mean, I had people from all over the country that worked there, and I was really shocked. I did not expect that to happen. You know, you're auditioning. I think it was the very first audition I ever did.
I was gonna ask, like, what was your okay.
And it was Patricia McElrath was the director of the theater, and she was quite something. But I saw these twinkling little lights in the back, and I thought, those are her glasses. She is observing me. Because it was very dark, and I just did my thing, and I was done, and she said, young man, come down. I was like, oh dear. Oh dear. I either really messed up or, you know. Because it was kind of great. I mean, it was really a great summer, except for the fact that I really did not like acting by the end of that summer. But I was working with John Azell, who was a really great scene designer. And he just said one day, just kind of came up behind me and just said, you know, you're a painter. And I thought, okay. I kind of knew that too, but I didn't know.
Just knew he had kind of given you permission?
Yeah, he did. I think that's exactly what kind of happened. And so then I went to KU, and I still took a few theater classes when I was at KU. But
so for going to art school, this is something I'm always interested in other people. Like, did you have an intention going there? Like, mine was like, I need to learn how to work. I know I'll get better over time, but I need to learn how to work. I need structure, I need process. So what were you, was there anything like that with you?
I definitely think that I needed, yes, I needed structure, and I also needed to develop a sense of work ethic and go there every day. And I'm not saying I was the best student at that then, but that is something that's happened over time. Yeah. And it's absolutely, when I taught, I mean, that's what I would always tell students, is that you have to do this every day.
Yeah. What was the focus, like, was the focus of the school, like, did they allow for kind of you to kind of do whatever, or did they kind of, like, you have to do your foundations and all this stuff?
It was, foundations. Oh my God, that was so, I kind of blocked that out.
Okay.
It was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, especially 3D, because the person that was going to teach the class, she had some problems. Lois Green, you remember?
I know.
Yeah. She was real hippie, and I really thought, I'm going to really love working with her. And then she got sick. And they brought in an occupational, he was product design person. Really intense. And I'll never forget the truncating everything down to 10 objects from a cube. Start with a cube, and you truncate it down to 10. And it has to be on this one sheet of paper. Or, well, it was a Bristol board, about 5-6 ply. And no smudges, no. Can you imagine me doing this project?
I'd be so curious to see it, though.
Well, the first one was hilarious. He just kind of, I brought it in a bag because I knew how terrible it was. And he just kind of looked in it and he said, you're going to have to do this over. And I just kept doing it. And it's like, I figured it out.
Did you find your people, your community in college at all? Or
Absolutely.
Was it kind of
Absolutely. That's like what I was saying, is like that part of it was, and I also worked part-time in an Italian restaurant that was just.
Was the food good?
It was great. I mean, we were family.
Yeah.
And and I mean, I'm still friends with some of those people.
That's amazing. Yeah. I count myself fortunate that I'm still friends 20 plus years later with people I graduated with. So it's like, and they still tolerate my nonsense. So.
Yeah. I have somebody coming in this week from Boston, so we're gonna have dinner.
So 30 houses, you move around a lot. When did that start?
Well, it started early because my father was, I was kind of think he was running from the law, but he was very, he was a very professional person, very smart person, and he just get promoted.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started in Topeka and ended up in Overland Park.
Okay, gotcha.
And by the time that we were in Overland Park, I mean, he was, and he was older. I mean, they were both so much. My brother and sister, they are 14 and 12 years older than me.
Oh, wow. So you essentially grew up an only child.
Essentially so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing I'm curious about, like all the moving around and all that, like I feel like that. Do you wrestle with a sense of like instability from that? Like, or is it just kind of, do you feel like it actually was more of a good thing because you got to see all these different environments, or does it even play it? Does that even factor?
Well, I think the biggest part of it is that I did have to learn how to make friends.
Okay.
Because I'm a friendly guy, and I am an extrovert in that sense. And it did force me to meet people and figure out how to make friends.
Yeah.
Of course, in high school, it became there was a lot of bullying. And I mean, I wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, and not to, I mean, this is too personal, but it's like, figuring out your identity and your queerness and stuff like that, like, especially in Kansas, and all that,
Yeah.
Not to stereotype Kansas, but.
I mean, but I came out my senior year, 1973.
Okay, that's
I mean,
incredible.
that was really, that was not done.
How much did that influence, not the coming out, but how much like knowing that you were like gay and then like being as a kid or teenager or whatever you figured yourself out, was that in the art like too? Like were you expressing?
Interesting, I felt comfortable with my peers, and I didn't think that was ever going to be a problem. And I don't think it really was a problem with them. But of course, once the word got out, people were leaving death threats on my locker. I mean, it was just bizarre.
Yeah, that's wild.
So.
When did you start trying to go after like gallery stuff?
Oh, well, that was kind of early.
It's kind of, because it feels like you've been,
Yeah, I've been at this a long time. But it was in the 80s, probably early 80s. My friend Shelley and I, we both went to school, we both had the same trajectory. And we went to New York with portfolios.
Yeah.
I mean, just
walking the streets.
Just kids. Yeah. It's when you could kind of do that kind of thing.
It's like, I think that's something that younger people probably don't understand, and I am in the middle of it because like I lived in New Jersey and had to go into Manhattan to kind of like pound the pavement a little bit, but it was a lot easier because we had email. So like but you're sitting there like you're carrying, are you lugging like portfolios or books? Like
we did slides.
Slides, okay.
We had our little, and it was so funny. We went in. Do you know who Mary Boone is? Mm-hmm. Walked into her gallery with her pristine walls and her pristine oval-shaped or crescent-shaped tables with two identical men in black sitting at the table. And it was like, oh. And we saw her come out, and as soon as she saw us and she looked at the manila slides, she was out. Get them out. So we went up to the two guys anyway, and I said, is anybody here to look at them? Because we'd had great luck the whole day. Okay. People wanted to, who are these kids from Kansas that are, doing this thing? And, they were very, felt very welcoming. And,
so had you mapped out like all the places you were gonna go?
Kind of. There were a couple of galleries that we definitely wanted to hit. I mean, we never thought we'd go into Mary Boone but of course we were kind of high on our own supply because we've got shows. Yeah, people wanted to see more work, and so it was like, wow, that was really interesting. But anyway,
did you end up living in New York at all?
Never lived in New York. I lived in Boston twice, and my gallerist, my dealer in New York, said, if you don't live here, don't expect a whole lot.
Yeah.
But my first show there, I sold out.
Yeah.
It was so.
How
It
old
was.
were you at that point? Or what year? I guess?
I was 20s. That's kind
That's
of
amazing to be in your
25.
20s and have like a
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was work that I was making when I was, I worked in AIDS hospice. And so
Yeah.
it was all the work that I was making during that time. And I thought, there is no way anybody wants to see this work. I mean, not that it was grim or at least on the surface, it certainly wasn't. It was just, once you dug into
Just
it,
difficult.
it was kind of tough work.
Yeah.
And then, and Janet was the first person to show it in Kansas City.
Oh, that's
And that took a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say that work, even when I showed it, was still really timely. I mean, the whole AIDS crisis was just like exploding around us, and there's so much misinformation,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
fear, and
That's the one that actually, I mean, nicely leads into one of the things, like, can you, I know nothing about AIDS hospice work, so can you,
It's right down the street too, which
Yeah.
is so bizarre. On Campbell. But I thought, I've got to do something. Because there were people that were dropping.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd see it on the bus. It's like, this person's sick. And
Yeah.
you might see them a couple of times and you never saw them again.
yeah.
So,
We're talking late 70s, early 80s?
well, no, it was 84
Okay.
probably was when I went through this training program.
Yeah.
And it was 3 people in Kansas City that just decided they were going to do something.
That's incredible.
It was really incredible. And they were pretty charismatic and smart and, loving. And I was going through my program, I was going through my training. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do because we had something where you could go in and you could talk to people who were dying.
Mm-hmm.
And they called it, they used to call it the buddy system, but she didn't like that, the director, she wanted to be called allies. So that was fine.
Mhm.
So when I said buddies, it's like, don't say that. But anyway.
So now that stuff sticks with you all these years.
Yeah, no kidding. So I thought, well, I'll do that. And she said, well, this is kind of on the DL, but we are going to open up hospice. And she said, I think you'd be good at that.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh gosh, I don't know about that. But
What were you doing at that point?
I was in visual merchandiser for halls.
Okay.
I know.
Sea change? Okay.
Totally. Totally. But I just thought, oh gosh, I don't know. So I thought, well, I'll tell you what, let me volunteer
Mm-hmm.
for a while and just see how that works out.
Yeah.
And I volunteered for a year, and she called me at work. She said, Joe, we really need an assistant director.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you'd be perfect for that. And I'm at work. She's
Yeah.
calling me at work, and I'm like, oh my God, I've got like, I've got a dolly to dress,
That's funny.
And
So, like, had you, with the gallery stuff that you, like, with the darker material that you're creating during that time, was this a way for you to kind of channel all the things that you're listening to and dealing with these people and helping them, or is it just like?
yeah, I mean, I tried not to make it really personal.
Okay.
I tried to make it as I was dealing. Well, I don't know if any of those images they've kind of come up,
Mm-hmm.
but I really tried to keep it so that when you looked at the piece, it invited you in. And once you got around and there were lots of little pieces to look at, you thought, oh,
Mhm.
there's something going on here.
Yeah.
And, but this whole thing was sort of interesting how I didn't expect any of that stuff to be shown. I thought it was just going to be very private work.
Mhm.
And then once Giff, my gallerist in New York, he saw it and he said, oh, we've got to show that. And it's like, oh my God. And then I was in another show at Ohio State, and it was like the first real group exhibition that was talking about AIDS and the artist's response to AIDS.
What school did you say that was?
That was Ohio State University. Yeah, and this is the weirdest thing. I got a call from a friend of mine in LA and said, "Oh, congratulations!" And I said, "Oh, for what?" He said, "Oh, I just saw your piece in the U.S. News and World Report." And I said, "Do not mess with me.
Yeah.
That's just not nice."
Yeah.
And he said, "No, it's like a full page, and there's your piece."
That's incredible.
And I was like, wow, that's bizarre. So, and things were happening. I mean, it was, as far as that goes, but yeah, people wanted that work. And
Is this what is the apartment series, or is that something
Yeah,
different?
the
This is the
apartment,
apartment series. Okay. I have to I'm curious. So, pardon me. This isn't quite art related. It's more about the hospice stuff. I have to imagine that it's full of incredible highs and lows. How do you kind of keep yourself?
Interesting how it was very, very funny.
Okay.
The gallows humor was
I was gonna say,
amazing.
if you can't laugh about it, you just make it worse, right?
Yeah, but then again, it was very scary. I had a resident pull a knife on me. I had
Oh, wow.
another resident trying to burn the place down. I mean, really weird, horrible things happen. And then, of
Yeah.
course, the death itself.
Yes. Yeah.
But sometimes the death, everybody died differently. I mean, there were 52 people that died, and I was present with all of them. And sometimes it was like just bucking and horrible and just, it's like, I would say this terrible things, but you've got to die already. This is not good. Fortunately, that did not happen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it was very,
Yeah.
very peaceful.
Does that still inform you to this day?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I've just finished, I'm in a show, Fred and I are in this show in Central Library that's going to open next week, and May 6th. And it's an interesting show. The professor is from UMKC, and she's doing this thing with her students where they can get a certificate in museum curatorship by taking a series of these classes. And so they are in charge of a lot of it, and really all of it. And I just got statements from them just the other day, and it's like, nope, those aren't going to work. So I kind of helped them along. Because I didn't want to touch the AIDS stuff, and I was like, you have to.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to.
Yeah. Well, and it's. I mean, it's like I grew up where it's like AIDS was just this threatening thing from society. Everything's telling you how, and it's like you find out years later. It's like it's like no, there's it's a very human thing that is just kind of lost now. People forget how just
the history is really slipping away because everybody's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I mean, there's the names.
That's not even putting it this way. Yeah.
There's the Names Project.
Yeah.
Which
I forgot.
it's oftentimes called the Quilt, but that is still a big thing. I mean, it's being held and stored and archived, and hopefully will not be destroyed. But anyway, there are just so many historical things. And another thing that's interesting, and we don't think about this, a lot of guys did not want to have funerals. And a lot of funeral homes would not take people with HIV/AIDS.
Yes. Yeah.
So there was a lot of cremation, and therefore you can't go to a funeral. I mean, if you go during the Spanish flu, you can go through and you can see everybody that died during that. Well, you're not going to have that kind of history. So.
How long were you at the hospice?
5 years.
Okay.
I know. It wasn't, it was not, I was, and I kept saying, I've got to get to graduate school. That was my whole point about all of this.
Supposed to be my follow-up is where does grad school fit into all this? Before or after?
It was after that.
Okay.
It was after that, and I picked 10 schools. and I picked schools that were going to give big, full ride or at least big scholarships. And I did the whole thing, and I was lucky. I mean, I got some great.
Where'd you end up going?
I went to Washington University in St. Louis.
Okay. All right.
And once I got there, I knew immediately. It's like, this is, well, I did something smart. I don't know if people do this anymore, but I went to audition or interview them. I wanted to make sure that was the right fit for me, and it really was. I mean, I turned down a full ride to go there. I mean, I got pretty much a full, and as it turned out, I got even a better deal from WashU than I probably would have gotten. But I went to Purdue, and when I called them to turn down a full ride scholarship, they were like, "What? Why are you doing that?" It's like, well,
Yeah, but it's not about the name, it's about what the experience that you want to get out of it. So I guess
and meeting the head of that graduate program,
Yeah.
she just died just recently, and she was amazing, and that's who I wanted to.
Yeah. What sort of guidance did you get from her that you feel like is carried with you?
Yeah, she was an abstract painter, and I knew I knew the figure. It had been waning, but I just knew the figure. I was done.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And this was able to give me a new language, and
Was that freeing?
Oh, so liberating.
Yeah.
It was so liberating. It took me a while. I think it took me it really took me a semester to really unload that. And I think that's why she liked me so much, because I was very honest with her. I said, I am here to learn a new language. And she was like, oh. And she was British. And she was kind of stiff up her lip. And she went through the Blitz. She said, it was a great time for me because I was doing sculpture.
That's wild.
And she had a limp, and I said, "Are you hit by a bomb?" I never said that to her, but I just wondered.
Yeah. And are you exhibiting the whole time you're there?
Yes, and it really blew up. I mean, I was still showing in New York, and things just happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it really opened up doors that I never thought that I would do a College Arts Association, I put together a panel.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
And I had 4 people, and we were talking about art and AIDS activism. That was our thing.
That also, you're doing great at giving all these segues, because I was going to ask, how does the AIDS activism, what's going on with that while you're going to grad school?
Yeah, it has never left.
Okay.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it just has never. It's never left. I mean,
Okay.
there's always something that I see or something that I think about as I'm painting. It's like, yeah.
How has your relationship with that activism changed over the years? Because I have to imagine that with the world, as we were talking about, people are forgetting, so it's
but not.
Yeah.
And things are it's all being brought to the surface again.
Yeah.
I mean, especially this last couple of years has been rough. And so we're, I think it's something that we're just going to have to, keep fighting through the work, and that's what I feel. I feel like it's like my queer language is just becoming more articulate, and I'm just hoping that it continues. I mean, I just turned 71, so it's like, how the hell did that happen? I do not know. But I'm not done yet.
Yeah. Are you? Do you mentor? Do you have students who are how do you kind of I guess how do you translate the activism and the art and the gallery stuff to a younger is that a concern at all? Is that a focus, or is it just kind of?
It's funny how working with these students in kind of not a periphery, but in a different way, I feel like that's sort of something I can certainly have that conversation. And I do not, I really did not like teaching. It just seemed very artificial to me.
How long did you do that for?
13 years.
You didn't like, okay. So you're glutton for punishment. What kept you going then if you didn't like doing it? Or
Well,
was it kind of
did-
you really just
I did
realized?
kind of like it. I did like it at WashU. I did
Okay.
kind of like it at WashU.
Okay.
But, oh God, I came here and the first thing I did was get a job at Johnson County Community College, and I just thought, oh, just kill me now. Have you ever gone to an interview where you said, please don't hire me? And as soon as you get there, it's blinking red. I was like, oh shit, they're gonna hire me.
Okay, so what's that? I guess it's more kind of, to kind of clarify the question behind the question is, a lot of this stuff is outreach, whether you're doing, like the AIDS hospice stuff, or whether you're doing gallery work, like you're putting a message out there, you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah, I feel
So
like
I guess
that.
it's more kind of a like, do you, is it important to you to carry that through to people beyond yourself? Or is it just important for you to kind of make the work and just be the voice? Like, I'm sorry for that nebulous question there, but.
Well, there are some other avenues that sort of happen. I don't know if do you know Sandy Woodson? Well, she's a
I'm still meeting people that there's.
she is a 2-time Emmy Award winner with her projects, and she's a documentarian. And she did a series of documentaries about the very thing we're talking
Okay.
about and the time that we're talking about
Okay.
in Kansas City. So her first documentary was about Woman's Town,
Okay.
which is right down the street. And then she did the AIDS from the very beginning, from the hospice days, and she's interviewed me on that.
Okay.
And I do not sound like an idiot saying that. I thought, bless your heart.
Kudos for
Bless
that.
your heart.
Yeah.
She did interview me a couple of times where I looked like a homeless person. I said, that will not happen.
I mean, I think it's interesting too that like from the series that we had with Stuart last May, and having folks like yourself like come and be a part of that conversation from my point of view, I think that's been part of the like accidental learning how to be an activist along the way and in the arts.
Yeah.
And so it might be one of those things where it's like, I have your answer more than
No,
you
yeah.
do, because it's like, you do people well. It's like your connections, your body of work, I feel
Yeah.
like it comes from a lot of
Yeah.
storytelling that you encounter with other artists. And then also you show up and participate all the time, whether it's as the artist on the wall or in the audience.
Right.
And so it's just kind of like a
Oh, I've
modeling.
seen you. I've been to a couple times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just like you don't say like, hey, this is how you do it and you make it work and you stay happy at the same time. It's just like if you pay attention and watch, it's like that's kind of how.
Kind of by example. Too.
Yeah.
No. And I guess that kind of does get into what I was kind of saying is like, it's like live by example versus like some people actively are, try to be like, hey, let's do this, let's pursue this, like this,
Like, let's keep this going. But I feel like it's almost like, oh, what's what's Joe looking at? And it's like, okay, well, and then what's that talking about? Or like what you're making or things like that. And so it's kind of like an unsung legacy almost, or like of just like a
No, I think that's important.
How
I think
you
yeah.
pay attention and keep those things going.
Yeah. And I do think that there is something to be said about the younger artists who, for some reason, don't necessarily want to integrate with older artists. I don't know what that's all about yet. But there is some ageism, there's some homophobia that is not being addressed, and it's just a really weird thing.
Are you speaking like from your experience here in
Yes.
Kansas City?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's the art world that is, and a lot of foundational art world stuff that is very homophobic. I know, I could curl your hair.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. It's like, where
So
is
say
it?
that, yeah.
Where is all this, like love and embrace and I see a lot of hostility and resistance to that. I don't know what it is.
It's interesting. I definitely see a little bit of the, I guess it could be classified as ageism, but it's like a lot of, it's like me and these kids in their late teens, early 20s and stuff like that, and there's definitely, old man shaking his fist at the cloud, but like there's definitely a bit of a like, no, let me figure it out, leave me alone, that sort of thing. And I don't know, it's interesting because no, you need community, you need help, you need people you need peers, and you need these people to be honest with you.
Yeah. But for me, I've always been, I always wanted to have an older, I was kind of looking for the mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for somebody to.
I think there's a real lack of.
I want to know about what that was all about.
I lament that a lot with friends in the illustration and comic book side of things. It's like there's, because you used to have editorial and publishers that were artists and were writers and creators and stuff like that, and now almost none of them are. And it's like you're trying to guide creativity, and it's like, no, we need to bring back the mentor system of like, even if it's just like a one-on-one thing, rather. But it's like that's why I kind of have the opinion of like I will. Sorry.
Hi.
Hi. How are you? How's it going? How are you? Okay. It's like anybody who comes to talk to me, I will come to them. I will give them whatever advice they need. I will review portfolios and do whatever, because that's what was done for me when I was growing up. It's like my heroes. Like I would go up to them, awkward kid, show them my crappy drawings, and they'd be like, "All right, do this, this, and this."
Right.
And it's like that's how you get better. That's how you learn. And it doesn't feel like there's a supportive system. So it's interesting to hear you say a similar thing for the more fine art, world, because I come from I make commercial art. I make stuff to sell. Like I make stuff for companies and for clients and stuff like that. So it's interesting to hear there's a similar thing on that side of things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're not going to solve it tonight, but
No.
it's good. It's heartening to me. It's a little heartening to know.
We'll try.
that-
Yeah, we can continue.
Yeah.
But
One thing I did want to hit here, because one of the things that you wanted to talk about that I know nothing about is the Keith Haring Foundation project.
oh, right, that was I just saw those slides come up. It was a projection project. It was in Kurtzville in Pennsylvania, and it was a new.
Pennsylvania, of all places?
That's where he's from.
Oh, okay. All right. There we go.
And I just got tapped for that, and it was kind of cool, and they paid me money, and it was like, wow,
Yeah.
I like that. And I didn't go.
Okay, I was about to ask, what was your
No,
experience?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't go, but they did the project, and they sent me really nice documentation of it.
Mhm.
But it was kind of a real one-off, and that's the weird thing about how sometimes something will come through to you that's like, what is that? I don't even know how you got that information.
Yeah.
But
How do you,
I'm sorry, what was that? I don't know.
Keith Haring?
Keith
Oh,
Haring's,
you were
the Keith Haring
commissioned?
Foundation.
Oh, were you
Yeah.
commissioned to make a piece?
Yes, I know.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And when was that? Was that recent?
I have to look at my resume. I think I was living. Yes, I was living here, so it must have been in the 2000s.
Okay.
That's incredible. Can I be a little bit nerdy and ask you process stuff?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm always curious as to how, I know my process is a lot of hand wringing and hair pulling and staring at a blank page and being like, how do I draw? I don't know how to draw a hand today. I did yesterday, but not today. You know what I mean? It's stuff and dealing with that. What is your, is your process, do you feel like it's the same now as it was 30 years ago? Or, how has it evolved?
It's not. It's probably not the same as it was yesterday.
Okay, so that's heartening to hear, but yeah.
Well, I do think that that's one thing for me. I always use Chuck Close as the artist that that would be hell. I would hate to have to go to the studio and make the same thing every day. But I do like to keep open and at the same time, don't get too confused. I mean, I do have bodies of work that I expound on,
Mhm.
but I'm always looking for something that might take me out of that,
So-
but connect
yeah.
it, especially when it's 3D, 2D.
Okay.
Because that's always been kind of one of my goals, is to see that the 2D and the 3D have this conversation that's, I never want it to be pat, but I want it to be,
Cohesive? Is that maybe the word?
yeah, and joyful
Okay.
and easy, and the two things look like they're made from the same hand,
Okay.
but they're not necessarily saying, not necessarily the same voice.
Okay. That's actually was my next question, is like, how do you feel like your voice has changed? But, well, is it, actually, let me put it this way. How much of it is intentional versus just kind of found, you know? Like, if you stumble, like, I'm going to do this
Yeah.
versus, I don't know what you know.
Well, I think finding the voice is,
'Cause each
it has to
piece-
be natural.
Yeah.
It has to be, it cannot be forced. And I think that's what got me out of the figure, ultimately, was that there was a lot of structure to that. And it did start to become formulaic.
Yeah. Did you go through any sort of phase when you were getting out of that where you're abstracting the figure at all, or did you just jump straight into like more abstract language and figuring it
It's interesting. I think I did a pretty good job of like jumping right out of it.
out? Okay.
But I've noticed there are a few things that are coming back in.
Oh, interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah. I think I've kind of exhausted the questions I had, so yeah, let's.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm hearing you talk about another dimension, time. And that's being represented in your work? Is that what's going on?
Well, I
Am
think
describing it
that's,
correctly?
yeah, I think time is that's just part of it. Maturing as an artist and that kind of thing. But if we're talking about
Oh.
yes.
Come on, keep going.
Well, I don't know how much that plays into it. I know that I do work with dreams. I do keep a dream book. I do keep these kinds of things where I have a sense of that and dimensionality, and where we are in this world. Which I don't have an answer for, but I don't think that this is everything. But I don't want to go down a spiritual route. Done that.
I think the 5 years in hospice care can also give you some insight
Yeah.
into.
String
into
theory,
that.
string theory might work.
Well, I'll leave that to Einstein. I don't feel I can really talk about that, but I do think that there is I don't know. I do think that there is something that when we pass, I think there is something, but I am not. I have no words for that really. I mean, I've seen some weird things happen,
I'm sure, yeah.
and weird things that are still to this day. It's like, why are you speaking Spanish to me when you don't speak Spanish?
Yeah.
When do you find that the theme of a body of work comes to you through the creation of it, or do you go into it with that?
It kind of depends.
Okay.
Kind of both. I
Okay.
mean, I do like to make a lot of pieces, and that could be pieces of pieces. And it depends on how that thing starts to come together. I never force it.
Yeah. I was about to say, do you get stuck and what do you do to shake it up, or if it's not forced?
Tear it apart,
Okay.
tear it apart, or build it differently. I mean, I remember telling students, it's like, you need to tear that apart. You need to get as far away from that but that was like ceramics mostly.
Yeah.
And the look of, oh my God, I've worked 2 weeks on this. It's like, I know.
It was a real good lesson for me working in production, but like had a director come out, look at my work, spent 2 weeks on it. He's like, so what would happen if we changed this? And I was like, would throw everything out. And he's like, all right, see you in 2 more weeks. You know, like, that's just what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's like you learn that the ego is not in that. The ego is in the act sometimes and
Right.
not the result, you know? Because it's like the result sometimes is something you wouldn't show anybody, but you have to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think somebody wanted to talk about sketchbook, and
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's important.
Yeah, I was curious if you do keep a sketchbook or what.
Always.
Okay. Is it something that ends up being more of like a take note or like a full like thumbnail like, and then this is where it goes?
No,
Or it's just.
that never happens. At least I don't think it does. I mean, maybe the process kind of filters through there, but I never do anything with intent like that.
Okay.
Is there figure work that happens? Like, are you sketching, because I know you don't do figure and this stuff, but are you doing
No,
anything? Okay.
it's always abstract.
Okay.
And a lot of times it's just, you know, keeping notes,
Yeah.
and that's fine,
And I'm curious if you listen to music while making.
sometimes.
Sometimes, okay.
I like to listen to things that I know really, really well.
Okay.
Yeah, we were
And I-
kind of talking about that at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I like opera, so I know I'm an opera nerd. But I want to listen to opera that is really familiar to me. So it's not taking me out of that
Okay.
experience.
Yeah. Because I know some artists will have, you know, music on, but not being even paying attention to it. And then there's the ones that have the music that, if they do know it, then it has to be something that they're not going to get distracted by.
Right.
And I'm curious
Right.
with your music history, if that, and I feel like that kind of marries up with like if it's something that you know,
Yeah,
then you're not going to be like, oh wait, where is this going?
right,
And be
right.
able to stay
Yeah.
with your piece.
And headphones are another thing. It's like if I have headphones on, sometimes I like something that's a little more intimate. Something that is, even like plays, Shakespeare.
Okay.
I like that. I like the rhythm of the
That's very
language.
musical dialogue. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't. But I have to say that I'm not much of a contemporary pop person. I don't know
Yeah.
what that is.
I mean, I think everything's so fractured in where you don't have to, you know? Like you can.
It all sounds the same to me. I know I sound like I'm 100 years old, but
Yeah.
it all sounds the same
Trust
to
me, I
me.
agree.
We are 100 years old.
Well, we are, but I hate
It
to.
is true, because it's sped up so fast that in a way, like the years before us were long, and these years are like.
Our perception of time.
And it
So in a
gets
way,
really
we're
fast.
100 years old.
It gets really fast. I know when it was 50, I noticed it was like, oh, what happened to that year?
Yeah, I just turned 47 and I was like, where did the year go? Like, and then I'm already sitting here going, like, it's almost May. Like, I'm, you know. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's all about.
Well, a few years ago, there were some studies done, and people, the older you get, your perception of time really does get faster.
Yeah.
It goes by faster for you. I forget how they did it, but they arranged it. You remember when you were a kid and the afternoon
Yeah.
lasted forever.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
My girlfriend's 8-year-old, he has no concept of time, and I'm really jealous. Because he'll be like, all right, when, we're like, blah, 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 we're doing something Wednesday. He's like, is that tomorrow? No, that's next week. And he's like, so 2 days from now. Do you still play any instruments? Okay. No desire to? No, okay, just curious,
I
didn't know if there was
in
any sort of
high
outlet or
school-
release
In
there.
high school, I did make I just thought, in my head, it's like, I've had a lot of experience with piano. I'm gonna find a new teacher and I am going to go do that. Madame Suscacha. I mean, she was just like,
That's a heck of a
wow.
name.
Well, there's a movie.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Shirley MacLaine.
Okay.
But anyway, it was just kind of that thing. I opened the door and it's like, oh my God. Okay, you're a crazy lady. Just don't kill me. And, but, oh, it was so horrifying. So horrifying.
Oof.
I'm also curious where you find yourself stumbling into inspiration. Like, I know that some artists will have a very much like, I go here for inspiration, but like, what
Oh, wow.
catches you along the way that you're like, oh, that stuck with me?
I don't know what that means. I've always wondered what that means. And I think that's because I just work every day.
Okay.
You know?
just show up.
I feel- okay.
Yeah, I just show up and I find it, and some days are easier than others.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just have to, have a space where I can, that's why I love having, and much to my husband's chagrin, but I have to have a space at home. It just makes it feel
Yeah.
better.
I get that.
I had this weird residency not too long ago. And even though I loved having all that space and I loved going, it was just, but still, it was sort of like, I had to go there.
Yeah. I
And,
get that,
and I hated that. I hated that part of it.
I would prefer working at home, but I have space here in order to get out of the,
Right,
you know,
right.
because it just gets a little dogs, kids, you know, it's like just gets chaotic. You know?
Oh, wow.
And it's hard to, you
Yeah.
know, so yeah, I come here to find that focus, but yeah, if I had my druthers, I would be, I'd work at home, but yeah.
Yeah.
But also the thing is though, is like after going through pandemic and like the production studio I worked for and moving to work from home, it got very easy to not put on pants every day. So I like,
I love that.
I like
love
coming
that.
here because I have to get dressed and be a human.
Right. Yeah, that's my favorite thing. It's like, oh, well, I even go outside and it's like, you think these are running shorts, but they're
I get crap all the time from my girlfriend, like, babe, put shorts on. It's just
They are
boxers.
shorts. They're just, they just have a fly.
Multi-purpose.
To the inspiration thing, there, I don't remember who said it, someone butchered the quote, but like it was the question of like, do you ever get writer's block? And they're like, no, I sit down at 9 a.m. every day and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that thing about when students would say I'm frustrated, or, and I'm sure that happened. That was all part of the process. But if you're getting frustrated, especially at 71, and when you've got, you know, you've got this vocabulary behind you, I think it's something else is happening.
Yeah.
But,
I think that's an interesting thing that you're kind of saying, but not so without saying, is that like it's easier to be frustrated when we're younger because we don't have that vocabulary. We haven't done enough to have enough things to draw
right,
on
I agree.
in order to. I don't know if that's true for everybody, but I think that's something.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm putting into words now, but it's kind of nebulous. Kind of how I, you know, it's like I am better at communicating today than I was yesterday because I went through yesterday.
Right.
You know.
I think that's really, really true. I mean, I am such a firm believer in, you know, starting children off early with art, visual language, visual,
Yeah.
anything.
Yep.
But I have to say, having a good, I mean, had it not been for my base when I was in high school, because we had 6 full-time art instructors.
Oh wow.
I know. And I just,
What'd you
I
go to
felt-
high school for?
Shawnee Mission West.
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying that to, but I mean, we had more than East.
I've never heard of any high school having that many art
Yeah.
instructors at all. Like
Yeah, I mean.
we had 2 in my high school. Like,
My house had one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
crazy.
I felt so fortunate
Yeah.
to, you know, be able to explore in that way. But, and actually, I loved my high school. I mean, it was in Overland Park, that was the only bad part of it. But, you know, I loved school. It was so much fun, and to read stuff that you would be crucified if you read that now,
Yeah.
which is so bizarre.
Yes.
I remember reading poems I wrote in creative writing that I would probably get expelled for today.
Right? Right? Yeah. I mean, I took a creative writing class that, I mean, that instructor was so open and really, she was amazing. But I mean, you know, Catcher in the Rye, she said, you need to be Catcher in the Rye. Can you imagine an instructor now? I mean, that's just sad. to me.
Yeah, it's a weird regression in education, or even just access, where we do have everything in our back pocket, but at the same time, there's no one to be like, this and this, you should do that, or like,
Yeah.
you know, the guide of it
Also,
all.
I don't know how y'all feel, but like,
It's more to than that, right? It's women's bodies.
yeah,
Like, I have more rights than my daughter has now, right?
yeah, yeah.
Well, you know,
That's
access
the way to
to
put it,
abortions,
yeah.
right? And that's unspeakable,
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
yeah. They're just being,
So,
but, you know, I'm, like Janet always hears me say this, but my glass is always gonna be half full.
yes.
Yeah.
Because
that's a-
I can't go
Yeah.
on
I
thinking
like
that
that.
this is gonna be the end. I think we're gonna be, I think there'll be a surprise.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A friend of mine once told me he was going through pretty bad life stuff at the time, just like relationship stuff. And he kind of was in a funk, and then one day he kind of was different. He was better, he's happier, and I was like, "What's going on, dude? Yesterday you were, you know, moaning about this." And he's like, "Dude, I just realized you get back what you put out, and I've been putting out negative for so long that's what I was getting. So of
Yeah.
course these things go badly." And so I think that's important to like glass half full rather than, you know, because it's so much easier. It's hard work to maintain hope and positivity
Yeah.
through adversity, you know. So it's like, but it's more rewarding if you do.
Yeah,
It's actually pretty hard these days to be able to put out positivity.
Sure.
So you're already working with a canvas that is, you know,
Yeah.
against you, if you could have a canvas against you.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, very
You know
much so.
what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
How do you brighten that up?
well, you know, somebody did just come, I think they came online and said something about that. You know, how can I make work when it's so grim? I said, well, you have to find the light. You have to find the light.
Right, absolutely, I agree. I write, I'm a terrible artist. I would have gotten expelled for my pen and ink drawings in my art classes, but yeah, I grapple with the same things.
Mhm.
Well, how do you keep creating in the middle of all this shit we're living in the middle of?
You know, I do,
I mean, I struggle with
Yeah.
that, I really do.
yeah, and I think people would say that about COVID, and people have said about this, and people have said that about, you know, during HIV/AIDS.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like, to me, that is my lifeline, making. You know, it may not be the best, it may not be
Yeah.
whatever, but making is absolutely the raft that I need to be on so that I can get to the other side.
Yeah, to get to the sunny days, yeah.
Yeah.
To that end, what does the future look like for coming up? Like, where are you going with what you're making right now?
Well, you know,
Perfect metaphor.
I guess, what does tomorrow look like? When you wake up tomorrow, what are you gonna work on?
well, I have like 3 shows that I need to kind of, I mean, that's the thing.
Mhm.
Exhibiting takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it takes time out of the studio.
Yeah.
So I'm not real happy about that. But I've got 3 kind of intricate things that I have to kind of deal with business-wise. So
Mhm.
that's not my favorite thing to do.
So you have a couple exhibits coming up?
It's a group show. Well, actually, I have a show at the Smalter.
I know, I just saw that coming in here and I didn't know.
Oh, good. Go see it.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
And then that show will be a bigger show, and that's going to be at the Carter Arts Center down the street from you.
Yeah, okay.
And then Fred and I will be showing at the Central Library May 6th. And
Central
then,
Library in Johnson County?
no, downtown, sorry.
That's
It's at the Mountain Gallery, it's in the Mountain Gallery.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm in the Mountain Plains Contemporary Art Biennial, and I'm delivering that work, or that work is going to be,
Where is that?
that is going, that's a Salina Art Center. They had this biennial.
I've been to Salina years ago. There's a lot more going on out there than you
Yeah.
think.
And there's some money out there.
Yeah.
They keep this thing afloat, and they also have a little theater.
And they got a brewery.
And they do have a brewery. And they have some really nice restaurants.
10 people.
I don't know about the people
I mean,
yet.
but I have to talk politics and I'm not buying.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And you don't have a New York accent. But yeah,
And I'm not walking around with a husband beside me either.
Yeah, right,
And
yeah.
that's a problem when you get more than about 20 miles outside of this town.
absolutely. I mean, I have friends that are, you know, they're Jewish, they're very cosmopolitan, they're very smart, and they came to visit me. One's from Connecticut, the other one's from San Francisco, and they met, and came to visit me, and they were going to look at some place in Kansas City, maybe to buy something here. They couldn't find anything. So about a week later, I got a phone call, and Andrew said, guess what we did? And I said, oh, it's so hard to tell. They bought the Opera House in Abilene.
Abilene, Kansas?
I know.
Wow, that's cool.
I like it.
That's a cool town.
That's pretty cool for, yeah.
They have the Greyhound Museum. Of course, they have the library, Dwight Eisenhower Library.
Which they've updated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well-
And they did the Truman also. I'm kind of, that's a new thing for me. I'm going to presidential libraries. It's just weird.
Oh, wow.
How many of them have you been to?
Only 3 so far.
Okay.
3 within close reach.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
As far as Little
So you got some
Rock,
work to do.
Little Rock and these 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, right, yeah, Truman and,
But I go out to California, so I might hit it. God,
oh, wow. Was it in Whitaker?
I don't know. There's, of course, Reagan's is in Santa Barbara,
Oh, is it?
and Nixon is in maybe San Clemente.
Oh, wow.
That's right. I know, it'd be like, shh.
Yeah.
But I think I still ought to go because I've decided that this is a thing and they'll be close.
Yeah.
I know, it'll be weird.
Okay, so I think we can break and
Okay.
do the chit
Yeah.
chat now.
Okay.
But thank you so
Okay.
much for
Yeah.
taking time
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Thank you,
speak
Joe.
to
Yeah,
us.
thank
I
you.
really appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you. That
Was this
great.
better than doing a talk?
Oh my God, a million times better.
Good. That's what I wanted for you.
I just hate that stuffy, formal, this is my slide and it is 36 by 36 by
Well, I feel
36.
like you also don't get to know the artist and
Yeah.
rock. Like, I know you more than I would have if
Oh,
it was just like,
that's nice.
here's my body of work.
Yeah, and there's such a mask that goes on too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make it sound